Kell Varn accepted the summoning job because the cult's dental plan didn't kick in unless you participated in at least one unholy rite per quarter, and his gums were, in the language of the dark gods, in open rebellion. Tonight's agenda was simple. Draw the runes, chant the words, open a hole in reality, and let something with too many elbows crawl through. There was only one problem. Kell Varn was dyslexic, and the cult had given him the chalk. The meeting was held in Basement 8 under Hab Block Kappa 17, between the storage cage for confiscated bicycles and the shrine to that one pipe that always leaks. The cult called themselves the Velvet Claw of Blessed Ruin, which sounded impressive until you noticed the sign on the door read in dripping red paint, Velvet Clam. That was Kell's handwriting, too. Their leader, a skinny man with a hood and the posture of someone perpetually apologizing to furniture, cleared his throat. Brothers, sisters, tonight we perform the rite of the seventh grin. The cultists murmured appreciatively. Mid-tier rites came with snacks. Leader Hood leaned in to Kell. "You have the instructions?" Kell patted his robe. "Right here." "Good. Remember, we are summoning a Daemon of corruption. We do not want to accidentally attract attention." Attention in the Imperium was like mold. It arrived on its own schedule, spread everywhere, and usually got you condemned. They began. Chanting started low, like a polite argument with a kettle. The air thickened. Somewhere far away, a baby cried, a dog howled, and a bureaucrat sneezed, which is how you knew the warp was paying attention. Kell knelt at the center and began drawing. He copied the first rune carefully, then the second, then the third. The fourth rune looked a lot like the fifth rune if you were tired, anxious, and slightly cursed. Kell was all three. Leader Hood began the invocation. "O great ones beyond the veil, hear our call." The circle flared. A jagged purple tear opened above them like a mouth trying to remember how to smile. Wind screamed, hot, cold, wet, dry, all at once. This was it. This was the Daemon Gate. Then, with a sound like a stamp slamming onto a form, the tear snapped shut. Silence. Everyone stared at Kell. It got worse. Through the small basement window, you could see the night sky. There had been a warp storm over their city for 3 days, a lovely swirling bruise of impossible colors that made compasses spin and prayers come out backwards. Now the sky was clear. The warp storm was gone, not moved, not reduced, gone. A cultist squeaked, "Did we banish the storm?" Leader Hood looked at Kell as if Kell had just eaten the sacred dagger. "You idiot! We were trying to invite hell, and you've just closed the door on it." Kell held up the parchment. It's very small writing." Leader Hood snatched it and compared it to the chalk circle. His face went pale in several stages. "You've reversed the binding sigil," he breathed. "You've drawn an Imperial ward." At that exact moment, the basement door exploded inward. A boot came through first, then a shotgun, then the rest of an Arbites enforcer. Behind the Arbites came Ecclesiarchy attendants with incense thuribles and expressions that said, "We have practiced being outraged in the mirror." And behind them all came a woman in crimson robes and a hat that could have been used as a small fortress. Canoness Administrator, Sister Marta Voon. She looked at the chalk circle. She looked at the terrified cultists. She looked at Kell Varn, still kneeling, chalk in hand. Then she looked at the clear patch of sky, and her mouth made the smallest possible smile. "No," she said softly, "it can't be." Judge Lex Varn of the Arbites stepped forward. Basement 8 is secured. Suspected cult activity confirmed. Canoness Marta raised a finger. Judge Lex stopped mid-word. "Canoness Muna, I have witnessed a sign, a ward drawn in the very mouth of darkness, a storm of the warp, silenced." Kell squeaked, "No, no, that was an accident." Canoness Marta smiled wider. "Humility, the purest proof." Judge Lex cleared his throat. "Canoness Administrator, with respect, this is a cultist." Sister Marta rose like a cathedral deciding to move. "Judge Lex, you are an officer of law. Your job is to see guilt. Mine is to see purpose." She pointed at the chalk circle. "This is not a summoning. It is a seal. The Emperor's hand has guided this man's penmanship." Kell raised his chalk. "It really hasn't." Sister Marta didn't hear him. "Bring him. He must be processed immediately." An attendant produced a folder so thick it had its own gravitational pull. "Canonization paperwork. Emergency provisional sanctification." They took him to the Ecclesiarchy offices. Kell was placed in a small room lit by a single flickering lumen strip. Across the table sat Sister Marta, Judge Lex, and a Mechanicus scribe servitor whose job was to stamp things. It stamped the air out of habit. Chunk. A data slate sat between them, displaying saintliness, probable, likely, very likely. We've already started the parade. Sister Marta folded her hands. "Tell us about the miracle." Kell leaned forward. "It wasn't a miracle. I'm a cultist." The saintliness index ticked up to likely. "No," Kell said quickly, "I mean it. I worship chaos. I tried to summon a daemon." The index jumped to very likely. Sister Marta nodded, teary-eyed. "Such honesty, a soul at war with itself." Kell slammed his palms on the table. "I am not tempted. I am already doing it. I have a membership card." The index slid to, "We've already started the parade." An attendant poked their head in. "Canoness, we may have started a parade." Sister Marta closed her eyes. "The Emperor provides." Outside, the city had discovered the warp storm was gone, and the Ecclesiarchy was smiling. People gathered in the streets. They held candles. They held icons. One man was already selling "I Saw the Saint" shirts. Sister Marta continued, "Tell us what you did." Kell took a deep breath. "We gathered in a basement. We drew runes. I messed up. I reversed a symbol. And it banished the storm, by accident." Sister Marta smiled. "By faith." "By dyslexia," Kell insisted. A door hissed open. A robed figure entered, half machine, half offended sculpture, Magos Click Theta. "I have been informed that a non-sanctioned glyph pattern has produced a large-scale warp nullification event." Kell nodded eagerly. "Yes, that! It's not holy, it's bad math." Sister Marta gestured grandly. "Magos, behold, the living saint." Click Theta's lenses narrowed. "Probability of sainthood low. Probability of bureaucracy mislabeling an anomaly absolute." Kell leaned toward the Magos. "Please, tell them I'm not a saint." Click Theta tilted her head. "Conclusion, you are a valve that unclogged the sky." Sister Marta clapped softly. "Even the Mechanicus speaks in metaphor." Click Theta added, "This is not metaphor." Then came the parade. Kell was escorted onto a balcony overlooking the crowd. Someone had wrapped him in a clean robe and placed a golden wreath on his head. It kept slipping over his eyes. The crowd roared, "Saint Kell! Saint Kell!" A few shouted, "Saint Clam!" but they were quickly hushed. Kell leaned toward Sister Marta. "You can't do this. I'm evil." She patted his shoulder. "Of course you are. Saints always say that." Kell stepped forward, raising his hands. "People, listen! I am not a saint. I am—" The crowd went silent. "I am very humbled by this." The crowd erupted in cheers. Sister Marta whispered, "Perfect. Say something about being unworthy." "I am unworthy." The cheering became deafening. Kell turned to her, desperate. "I'm unworthy because I tried to summon demons." The crowd began chanting, "Opposite of holy! Opposite of holy!" Judge Lex approached. "Canonus, the crowd is now attempting to canonize his sandals." Sister Marta nodded. "Then we must proceed quickly. Bring him inside. Begin the trials." The first trial was administered in the cathedral. Sister Marta read from a scroll. Trial 1, the blessing of the common. A basket was brought out containing a spoon, a bootlace, ration salt, and one aggressive-looking turnip. Bless the items. Make them holy. Kell stared. "I don't know how." Sister Marta nodded, scribbling. "Mystical simplicity." Kell waved his chalk. "Bless!" The spoon did not glow. The bootlace did not sing. The turnip rolled slightly, probably from gravity. Sister Marta's eyes widened. "Did you see? The turnip moved!" Judge Lex said flatly, "Turnips move when they are round." Sister Marta ignored him. "A sign! He awakens even the humblest vegetable." The crowd began chanting, "Turnip! Turnip!" Then the warp noticed. It arrived during Trial 2, as Kell was being asked to withstand holy incense without sneezing. A cold draft swept the cathedral. A shape formed near the altar, tall, smoky, vaguely humanoid. It sighed. "Excuse me, is this the place to file an objection?" Judge Lex leveled his shotgun. "Daemon!" The daemon held up a clawed hand. "I'm here because someone closed a perfectly respectable warp storm without proper notice." Kell's mouth opened. "You can object?" "We have procedures. We are chaos, not animals." It produced papers from thin air. "Petition for storm reinstatement. It wasn't even a proper ward. It was drawn backwards." Kell brightened. "Yes, see?" Sister Marta clasped her hands. "Even the daemon admits the saint's power is so great he can bind with the wrong hand." The daemon looked offended. "That's not what I—" Judge Lex fired. The shot passed through harmlessly. "Unprofessional," the daemon scolded. "I am Auditor Grelch of the 17th Bureau of Malevolent Weather." Sister Marta whispered, awed. "An auditor?" Judge Lex muttered. "Of course the warp has auditors." Grelch looked at Kell. "Explain why the storm was removed." "I didn't mean to. I mixed up a rune." Grelch nodded, writing, "Negligence. Excellent." Sister Marta stepped between them. "Begone, creature. The saint has restored order." Grelch stared. "He restored order accidentally. That's administrative." A hush fell. Kell felt sudden dread. What happens if the warp gets administrative? Grelch smiled. "Oh, we'll see." He vanished in a puff of burned paper. At midnight, the sky flickered. Warp weather tried to seep back in, cautious. Grelch appeared beside them on the Ecclesiarchy roof, holding a clipboard made of bone. Appeal successful, storm reinstated in part. However, due to saint interference, we are limited to light drizzle of madness. Cal shouted, "I'm not interfering!" Grelch smiled. "About that. The chalk is now a relic, correct?" Sister Marta nodded proudly. "Excellent. Relics require management. Therefore, the warp storm is now officially classified as a charitable donation. He held up a form, Form 38-W, weather reclassified as blessing, provisional. Then something stranger happened. Sheets of parchment began falling from the sky. People caught them, confused. Notice of haunting scheduled. If you are not home, your soul will be left with a neighbor. Sister Marta stared, horrified. This is organized. Click Theta spoke quietly. The warp has become administrative. Grelch nodded. Your saint did that. If the saint signs the storm settlement agreement, the warp will cease paper precipitation. Kell looked from the sky rain to the city below. If I sign, the warp goes back to being stupid? Gloriously stupid. He took the quill, and because he was Kell Varn, because spelling was his oldest enemy, he signed the wrong line. He signed not as Kell Varn, but as Kell Varn. The agreement flashed, the sky shuddered, the paper stopped falling. Grelch blinked. Wait, that's name mismatch, agreement invalid. Sister Marta gasped. He has outwitted the warp. Kell shouted, No, I just... Grelch stared at him, furious. You can't even do compliance correctly. Kell spread his hands. It's kind of my thing. Grelch's shoulders slumped. He snapped his fingers. A single small cloud formed over the city. It drizzled, gently. Not madness, not paper, just water. Click Theta stared. Normal precipitation. We're done, Grelch said wearily. We're taking our storm elsewhere. Sister Marta watched the rain with tears. A miracle. Kell whispered, exhausted, That's just weather. Saint Kell Varn, who teaches even the warp humility. Grelch, fading, looked back with one last smirk. Enjoy your promotion, cultist. I didn't want it! Nobody does. That's what makes it powerful. Weeks later, the city had a new statue. It depicted Saint Kell Varn holding chalk aloft, eyes lifted to the heavens. At his feet, a turnip rested serenely. The plaque read, Saint Kell Varn, patron of administrative errors, sealer of storms, turnip awakener. Someone had scratched underneath, velvet clam forever. Kell was assigned an office in the cathedral, signing blessings and stamping forms. He tried once more to confess, writing a full list of his cult activities. The Ecclesiarchy published it as The Saint's Litany of Temptation, and it became a bestseller. Eventually, Kell stopped trying to be evil, not because he had become good, but because the universe had made his incompetence too effective. On the anniversary, Sister Marta presented him with a ceremonial stamp. It was engraved, Humility Verified. Kell looked at it, and for the first time, he laughed. The laugh of a man who had tried to open hell and instead became customer service. End of recording. Case filed under Miracles Caused by Spelling Errors. Do not encourage. Lesson learned. In the Imperium, even chaos needs paperwork, so always double-check which line you're signing.